If you're working really hard within your workouts but just not seeing the increases in strength that you are looking for, it might be because you are making this mistake. The average age of the people that I work with tends to be around 50 to 65, and in all honesty, more often than not, the biggest issue is insufficient protein intake. So why is protein important, especially as you age? Well, we've talked before about how once you hit the age of about 40, you start to lose between 5 and 10% of your muscle mass every single decade. Protein obviously is the building block of muscle, so not enough protein means that you can't build new strength and new muscle, but it also means that it's easier for your body to start getting rid of the muscle that you do already have. Less muscle as you age means that your risk of a whole host of diseases goes way up. One disease in particular is type 2 diabetes. Now, muscle mass is one of the body's biggest reservoirs of sugar. So when you eat something, when you eat carbohydrates, you eat pasta, rice, potatoes, sugar, all of that enters your bloodstream, and then your body has to deal with it. And the way it deals with it is by pushing it into muscle tissue. If you are losing muscle tissue, but you still have sugar in your blood, your body doesn't have anywhere to store it. And so it just hangs around in your blood sugar remains higher, and this is how people can develop type 2 diabetes as they get older. So by maintaining muscle mass, you have more of a reservoir, you have more storage sites for sugar, you can maintain a healthier blood sugar profile. And that's going to mean that your energy levels throughout the day are a lot more consistent, and you avoid what is actually quite a difficult condition to live with. And that's not even mentioning that less muscle means less independence as you age. It also means more risk of falls, injuries, your bones get more brittle because there isn't the support around them, which is why you see a lot of 70 and 80-year-olds who end up falling, and then they spend the next decade in waiting rooms in the doctor's office. And by the way, I have a free Age Strong guide, which is in the description. It's going to take you through 21 chapters of how to make sure that you are protecting your health and your strength as you age. If you're over the age of 40, I think you'll find it very useful. So sign up for that, it's completely free, links in the description. So what does underdosed actually look like? How much protein is enough and how much is not enough? Well, like I said, most of the people I work with tend to fall within the 50 to 65 age range. And when we actually start tracking what they eat, they are often very surprised at how little protein they tend to eat. And this actually is very normal. People tend to overestimate the amount of protein that they eat. For a lot of people, it's not unusual to see protein intakes as low as 70 grams per day. Now, for context, most people should be aiming for almost double that, so between 120 to 140 grams a day. Now, this seems like quite a challenge. This means that you'd have to eat either 3 meals with 40 grams of protein in each, or 4 meals with 30 grams of protein at least in each one. However, realistically, if someone isn't eating enough protein, any increase in their intake is going to be beneficial. So the first goal I usually set with people who are underdosing their protein is to just increase it to about 100 grams per day if they can. For most people, in all honesty, that intake is okay. Is it optimal? No, but is it okay? Yes, actually it's probably a tiny bit lower than that. 90 to 95 grams is probably all you need to maintain muscle. But if you're interested in building strength, in building muscle long term as you age, aiming for upwards of 100 grams is always going to be beneficial. If I start out with someone and they're eating 70 grams of protein a day, our first goal is to bump up to around 100. How do we do this? Well, it could be double portions of meat for dinner. It could be just changing your breakfast. A lot of people's breakfasts are very low in protein, so it could just be switching your Weetabix for 3 eggs on toast in the morning. It could be switching the Greek yogurt that you have that is only 5% protein to a Skyr yogurt that is 10% protein but lower calories, so you can eat more of it and end up getting a lot more protein for fewer calories. It could also be that you add some kind of protein supplement, like a protein shake. I know this isn't everyone's cup of tea and some people find them disgusting, but if they are somewhat manageable, just have an extra protein shake on your workout days. If you can manage to eat a protein bar every day, the increase in protein that you get is worth it. These are just a few examples. That's not an exhaustive list by any means, but there are a few ways that you can just increase your protein intake by about 20 to 30 grams per day, which if you're currently sitting on the lower end at around 70 grams a day, this will get you up to the magic number of around 100 grams per day. Now, once someone is consistently eating around 100 grams of protein a day for a couple of months, then we can start looking at building things up again ever so slightly. This could be having 1 extra egg white in the morning. That will add about 6 grams of protein to your overall intake. And that's 6 extra grams that can go directly into repairing and building muscle strength and size. This could be having, I don't know, an extra small piece of chicken breast at dinner. This again could add anywhere from 5 to 10 grams of protein. So once you're at a moderate protein intake, which is around 100 grams, any extra increase actually does add up. So it's not about slamming protein shakes, having 2 or 3 protein shakes a day. It's just small things that you can do in your meals to slightly increase the intake. If you can increase the protein of each meal by 5 grams, which doesn't take much, your total daily intake is now 15 grams higher, which does go a long way in terms of preserving and building muscle mass and strength as you age. So what sort of strategy should you follow if you're unsure if you are underdosing this nutrient or not? Well, firstly, I would track your intake for a few days. You could do this with a food log, you could do this with MyFitnessPal, you might have to pay for a month. It used to be free, it's not anymore, but just track for at least 3 days. See what you actually eat in a given day. And this will give you a clear picture on how much protein you're currently eating. Now, it is just an estimate, but it gives us a ballpark figure. Secondly, like we already said, try and add some kind of protein source to every single meal you eat. Breakfast, lunch and dinner. Maybe add a snack, maybe add a protein shake on the days that you work out. The third thing you can do is prioritize animal proteins over plant proteins. This is obviously meat, fish, dairy, eggs, whey protein powders, casein protein powders. However, there are still some very good plant protein sources like pea protein. Tofu obviously is quite high protein. A lot of beans and lentils. The only issue with plant protein is that your body can absorb less of it per 100 grams. So let's say you eat 100 grams of plant protein a day, your body might only be able to absorb 85 to 90 grams of that 100 grams you eat. Whereas if you eat 100 grams of protein from eggs, firstly, that would be a lot of eggs that you'd have to eat, but your body can absorb all 100 grams. So if you were wondering why your strength wasn't increasing, that might be a good indicator that you're not eating enough protein. So hopefully that helped. Thank you for watching. See you next time.